The silencer has been repaired, and in today's video I'm going to be refitting this rather heavy thing and then getting the car back together in preparation for the MOT. With the silencer off the car, I've been able to inspect it and decide what I'm going to do with it. Originally I thought I'd utilise part of the original bracket right here, and I ordered some 6mm steel bar which I shaped to form these brackets, which ultimately would be welded onto the silencer. I was a bit concerned that this 6mm steel might be a bit too flexible and might fracture when in use, and I wasn't happy with this. So I ordered some 8mm steel bar, which is considerably thicker and harder to bend, but I think this is probably going to be more suitable, and once this is welded in place I think that will form a very strong mounting bracket. My only concern is now alignment. So what I'm going to do is offer the silencer up to the car, partially bolt it into place and decide exactly how this bit here needs to be shaped so it actually meets up with the hanger. Here are the part numbers for the springs and also the mounting bolts for the silencer. I'm just going to loosely assemble this on the car. It was immediately obvious to me that I needed to adjust just a couple of these angles here. The lower bracket is shaped just fine and it goes off through that right hand mount just fine there. Okay, after much bending and twisting and multiple backwards and forwards from the vise, I can safely say that I don't think I can shape that any better. Everything's held in place with cable ties. Obviously that bit there will be right up against that elbow when it's welded. And I'm going to mark this the best I can. I've marked that bit there with a marker pen so my friend knows where to weld. And then I've turned this little piece up at the end here to reduce the chances of that breaking free. I'm pretty happy with that actually. Certainly a lot cheaper than a new exhaust. The silencer is now back from repair, and it's just time to offer it up one last time to see if there are any final adjustments that need to be made to this bracket here, which has been welded on to the tailpipe and also to this inlet elbow and the two pieces together here. I might need to just tweak this a little bit to get the alignment just right. I'm not going to lie, there was a whole lot more fettling required with this than I was expecting, but I think I've finally got that in the right shape. It's been on and off with these bolts about 4 or 5 times to get it right, and now it's time to fit this sealing ring to this flange. And now we can offer up the exhaust. With everything pushed in place and with this rubber mount on here, I can now fit the bolts. Tighten these evenly, and for the first time in God only knows how long, this exhaust is actually fitted and supported at both ends, left hand side and the right hand side. And to get a decent view of that bracket, you can see it right here. I'm still not sure whether to paint this or not, but I'm thinking because the cat's just in here, it's going to get so hot that even VHT paint would probably melt off. It'll be difficult to show you because of the lack of light in here, but I'm going to reconnect this number 2 lambda sensor and then refit the number 1 sensor in the engine bay. Just feed that through and it emerges here. Very difficult to get on camera, but once these are reconnected, it can then be refitted into this clip, which keeps the whole thing secure. We can now start this up. This car hasn't been started for a while. It will likely need charging. And this is the perfect opportunity to try out my charging wire right here under the carpet. We just plug the charger in here. Bit of a two-handed job. Plug in the charger and let it do its thing. This says motorcycle, but it's actually suitable for small cars too, much like this. While that battery charges, I can go about reassembling the back end. Now, I'd previously mentioned that this was quite scabby and corroded, and I'm very pleased to say that I've got a lovely new used replacement from Jordan Kuhn, who is my go-to supplier for used smart car parts. I'll leave details in the description below. If you need anything for your smart, he's the man to call. I'll be fitting this new one when I do the clutch. You may also remember that I said I was looking for a new rear lower bumper trim, because this one had parking sensors fitted. And I'm very pleased to say that Jordan has sent me one of these too. A nice new lower trim without the holes for the unnecessary parking sensors. Really easy to fit, just a line of clips here, and then at each end there's a little plastic clip with an insert that pushes through. I'll leave details on the screen so you know who to call if you need parts for your smart. Returning to the back end of the car, here you'll see how I've sealed up the rear light apertures using some plastic and some butyl cord. And this is very similar to how I seal up door foils behind door cards. It's very waterproof. Now, this is going to be quite useful to save, because this back will be off again and I want to use this arrangement next time round. So I want to try and remove this and keep this butyl cord on the plastic, and then I can just put these onto some tin foil and keep them for next time. This is quite boring, and I don't think this is going to make particularly good TV, but it's suffice to say that these are coming off quite nicely. And with these both off the car, these can be stored for next time. Need to remove this tailgate again to make it easier to fit the panels back on the car. Plug in the rear light units in again. I did replace the bulb that needed doing on this side and just reconnect the little solenoid there. I sprayed some WD-40 on those terminal pins because that had been out in the elements, just in case any water had built up in there. Connecting the wiring on this side too. Those. When tightening these 15mm nuts on these hinges, you can actually get these in exactly the same place if you look for the outline of the nut. It's easier on a car with a silver tritium because you can put a circle in black marker pen around the nut. Not so easy with the black tritium unless you've got a white pen. But I can see I've got these in exactly the same place. And then we just tighten this T40. Let's see if the battery's had long enough to charge. It's time to refit the side skirts, and that is the part number for the little clips. There are 5 each side. We then clip this in along the lower edge under here. Everything is sounding really great. No blowing from the exhaust, no vibration. In fact, the knocking noise that was audible from the inside has gone, and I thought that noise was the clutch breaking up, but it was obviously that silencer rattling against the rear suspension arm. It's looking pretty good, and it's ready for its MOT now. Hopefully it'll pass, because I'm really keen to take this out for a proper drive and see exactly what this clutch is actually doing. Because now I know that noise isn't coming from the clutch, I've got an idea about what might actually be happening, and it might not need the full clutch, even though I've got the parts. And who knows, I could eBay this, couldn't I? Set of rear parking sensors for a Smart, complete with the rear lower bumper panel, with pre-fitted parking sensors. Someone might love this. If anybody wanted parking sensors for their Smart, Christ knows why. Well, that's it for this video. Everything's back together. I'm very pleased it's done. It's a very satisfying job. And this hopefully means that now I can get the car MOT'd. And that will be in the next video. I'll also be carrying out a full service because that's due, and I'll be carrying out some extensive testing on this clutch once I can drive this car properly on the road. I'd just like to say a massive thank you for those who have bought me a coffee, link in the description, and also to those who've recently subscribed to the channel. If you haven't already, please consider doing it. I'll see you again in another video very soon. Meantime, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.